Davy, I'm awesome. Welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. And this week was TNA Slammiversary 2024. Happy Slammiversary from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Let's get into it. The opening match, Broken Matt Hardy versus JDC, no longer calling himself Dirty Dongo. You know, it was very lackluster. Sorry, but it was. It wasn't very long, it wasn't very exciting at all. Just really wasn't anything to it. There wasn't a whole lot of drama. I know JDC helping out the system and all that with Matt Hardy's title match, but still, to this match, there was just nothing to it. It was just kind of a going through the motions kind of thing. Just went until Matt Hardy got a twist of fate in the pin, which again, it was just like, so what? And then afterwards, he did a couple more. I'd honestly say for an opening match, very weak. I'd give you a 2 out of 5. Then for the TNA Tag Team Championships, ABC, Ace and Bay Club, challenging the System, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. I will say that this picked things up. I mean, it's ABC's in the match, so of course there's crazy back and forth, some flips and stuff. And the System's there, so of course Alyssa got involved. But it kind of backfired as she ended up accidentally getting hit, which distracted Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. So they could end up getting the combination Art of Finesse and the Fold, get the pin, and the win, becoming the new TNA Tag Team Champions. Like I said, this match, though, it was crazy. It was back and forth. I actually really liked this one. I would give this one a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then, Jake Something versus Mike Santana. Kind of like the first match, there was just really nothing to this. No real drama in it. But I'll give him this. It was a little bit more exciting than the first one. You know, it had a couple of big moves. Like Santana leaping to the top rope to do a German suplex. And after that, they fought a little bit more. He got spin the block and the pin. And the win over Jake Something. But again, like I said, there just wasn't any real drama. And there honestly wasn't really much point to the match. So I'd give this one a little bit better than the opener. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. And then keeping with TNA and NXT's working relationship going on right now, NXT's No Quarter Catch crew versus partially TNA's and partially NXT's, The Rascals. As we remember, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel showed up on NXT, recruiting Wesley back into The Rascals, because that's where he was before he went to NXT. He was part of The Rascals in TNA. So they had a 6-man tag on this one. It was good back and forth, chaos, great teamwork, like when The Rascals did the Centipede. But again, there just was no point to this match except for the reuniting of the Rascals. So it really just was like, you know, they're back together. Let's not have a real rivalry or anything. Let's just put them in a match. But okay. And as expected, since they were the ones reuniting, they're a TNA team, they got the win over the No Quarter Catch crew. But again, it was entertaining enough. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! And then a Montreal street fight for the TNA Digital Media Championship and the International Wrestling Championship, title that hasn't existed since the 80s. But apparently AJ Francis bought it and was putting it on the line. Whatever, they're in Montreal, so whatever. But AJ Francis defending both these titles against PCO. I give it this, it was good, but I'm just not that into PCO. Like I've said, he's a good gimmick, but that's really it. Not into AJ Francis at all. Even when he was top dollar, I was just like, okay, he's big. That's it. But, like I said, the match itself was still good. Of course, you know, AJ Francis, his entourage with Rich Swann and everybody got involved. Sami Callihan came out to fight off Rich Swann. But then we also got a surprise with Rhino coming out to help. And then after 2 PCO assaults, PCO got the win. Is now the TNA Digital Media Champion, and I don't know what's going to happen with this international championship thing. Like, is he going to, like, defend it, or is it just like, hey, Montreal, this was cool? I guess we'll see. And then afterwards, Steph DeLander came out and proposed to PCO. He said, oui. Sure. It was good enough to get a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the TNA Knockouts Championship, Ash by Elegance challenges Jordan Grace. It was good, but I'm not a big fan of Ash by Elegance. even when she was Dana Brooke. I remember when she first came to NXT and they were hyping her up, and it was like, she's just okay. And I'm sorry, but there's a reason I don't think she ever achieved much in WWE. Because she was just not that great. And I honestly don't think anybody believed that she had a real chance of beating Jordynne Grace. You know, except for her concierge interfering, but Rosemary came out and took care of that. And then a little bit later, with no real threat to Jordynne Grace, she got the Grace Driver on to Ash by Elegance, got the pin, the win, and retained her TNA Knockouts Championship. So, honestly, I would say this one was good enough, but barely, to get a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the TNA X Division Championship, Mike Bailey versus Mustafa Ali. You know, it was really good. I'm not a big Mike Bailey fan. I honestly think he's overrated. And it started out that way. It was just typical Mike Bailey doing flashy moves, but being all flash, no substance. But eventually Mike Bailey accidentally knocked out the ref. And this gave way for Trent Seven to come out and help Mike Bailey and get a little revenge on Mustafa Ali for injuring him. But since the ref was knocked out, they decided to do a little nod to the Montreal Screwjob, as we found out that Ali had hired Earl Hebner to come out. And then Ali puts Mike Bailey into the sharpshooter and is yelling at Hebner to ring the bell, but he refuses, to the point that Ali gets up to yell at him, and Mike Bailey puts him in the sharpshooter, but he actually taps out, redeeming Earl Hebner and making Mike Bailey the new X Division champion. Like I said, the drama in it built this up. Although I will say at this point, TNA, can you please stop referencing the Montreal Screwjob? This is not the first time they've done it. In a match, I mean. But, like I said, this match was really good. Definitely stepped it up. 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then the main event for the TNA World Championship. A 6-man elimination match. The contestants, Joe Hendry, Frankie Kazarian, Josh Alexander, Steve Macklin, Nick Nemeth, and Champion Moose. Too much went on in this. I can't go through all of it, but first person eliminated was Steve Macklin, who was eliminated by the Champion Moose. But then the second one eliminated later was when Joe Hendry eliminated Moose, the champion. Which, in the middle of the match, that's very exciting, because that means we're going to get a new champion. But very soon after, Josh Alexander hits Joe Hendry with a low blow, then the C4 spike, eliminating Joe Hendry. Which is not only probably going to create a rivalry between the two of them, but is showing that Josh Alexander is doing a heel turn. But then soon after that, Josh Alexander is eliminated by Nick Nemeth. But somewhere through this match, on the outside, Kazarian was put through a table, so he just kind of sat on the sidelines until the only opponent he had left was Nick Nemeth, and went in and immediately just tried to put it away. But soon after that, Nick Nemeth was able to get out of the chicken wing, get the danger zone and the pin, and Nick Nemeth is the new TNA World Champion. This honestly was match of the night. 5 out of 5. Yee! So, TNA Slammiversary 2024 overall, it was okay. I've been seeing a lot of people praising this as being such a great show. Honestly, it wasn't. It started very weak. And then throughout it, there were a couple really good matches, mostly just okay. The TNA Tag Team title match was great. The X Division Championship match was great. The TNA Knockouts Championship match was very lackluster, mostly because of who they had the opponent. Now, I get they've been pushing Ash by Elegance since she got there. I don't get why, but they have been. But again, we never felt like there was any real danger of Jordynne Grace losing her title. And I will say this, at this point, I think it's time for Jordynne Grace to drop the title to somebody. Nothing against Jordynne Grace, but her title reign is getting boring. The Digital Media Championship, again, I know personally I'm just not a big fan of PCO, but I will say I'm glad it's off AJ Francis, because again, that's another one they're hyping up, and I don't get why. When he was in WWE as top dollar, nothing special about him at all. Just he's big. And yet he's coming in here and they're making him seem like a much bigger deal than he is. That's TNA for you. The X Division Championship match, where it was really good and had a nice bit of drama to it. And I get that Mike Bailey was in his hometown, so they felt like they had to give it to him. I don't necessarily agree with that logic, but I also don't get Mike Bailey. I heard hype about him for a long time, and he's never lived up to it, in my opinion. Kind of wish they would have just kept it on Mustafa Ali at this point. The championship match was not only the match of the night, but it was the only 5 on the entire card. And even the way it ended, I get it, but I'm a little about it. I felt it was time for Moose to drop the title. And I like Nick Nemeth. I've liked him since he was Dolph Ziggler. Nothing against him. But I just kind of felt like that was the wrong move. They had a perfect opportunity to give it to Frankie Kazarian, who I feel is the one they need to give the title to. Not because of he deserves it type thing. I'm not one of those people like, this person deserves it. Who doesn't deserve it? It's just the fact that he's been such a TNA mainstay for a long time, it's long overdue. However, it seems like this is going to result in a rivalry between the two of them, so let's see where it goes. It wasn't my pick, but I'm okay with it. I do like that Josh Alexander is turning heel, because he has been their top babyface for a long time. It's time to see what he would do by himself as a heel. I say by himself because, as we remember, when he was part of the North tag team, they were heels. But let's see how well he can do by himself as a heel. Could probably be the top heel. Either way, everybody, again, hyping this up as being such a great show. It had great attendance. Good for them. They talked about it. It was their largest gate in 10 years. Good for them. Glad TNA is building that up. But as far as the overall show, honestly, no way it could get a 5. No way it could get a 4. I wouldn't say it barely squeaked it out, but I wouldn't say it was a hard choice of what to give the show. A 3 out of 5. So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post videos. And leave a comment that I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of TNA Slammiversary 2024. Tell me if you agree with my ranking. Tell me if you disagree. Love you guys.